This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello, it's Wednesday, October 20th. Rich Pope here with Steve Hudak and Mike Lafferty. We've got some good topics to talk about today. We're going to talk about Ocoee. They're bypassing Orange County's pet sale ban. And also, we're going to take a look at an editorial where I get the impression that editorial board has pretty much just thrown up their hands and are asking what the heck is going on. We'll find out more about that one. But we're going to start here with Steve Hudak. So, Steve, yesterday, Ocoee bypassed Orange County's pet sale ban. And this has a lot of implications in the region as far as these bans on pets.
On the retail sale of pets by pet stores. Orange County, if you might remember this summer, passed an ordinance similar to one that is in place in Seminole, Osceola, and Lake counties, which will forbid the retail sale of puppies, kitties, and bunnies by pet stores. I mean, you can still get them at adoption places, rescue places like that, shelters, but you won't be able to sell them after June 22nd. There's like a year for the businesses to prepare for this. Ocoee decided, we could have our own ordinance, and they did. And theirs is interesting because they only have one pet store in the city that sells puppies. It's called Choose a Puppy, CHEWS, like what your puppy does when you bring it home and choose everything, right? They have sort of an interesting record. They've been linked by the Humane Society to some terrible breeders. They get some other animals from these terrible breeders, puppy mills, if you will. And the whole idea of these sales bans is to sort of put a dent in the business of these puppy mills, because most of those are located outside the state. They're in Kansas, they're in the Midwest, Iowa, Arkansas. As one of the commissioners noted last night, there's not much we can do about puppy mills. Well, you can if you tell the retail pet stores you can't sell puppies. This pet store, Choose a Puppy, said over the last 3 years, their owner said, like co-owner last night said, they've sold 6,500 puppies. And those aren't puppies that sell like for, $200. There's dogs that sell for, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And a lot of these are financed by people at these crazy interest rates. So the meeting was pretty lively. It was the second one. Lots of animal welfare kids were there. A lot of supporters of the store. And it seemed like half or more than half were employees or former employees of the store. So.
Yeah, what I find interesting too is this pretty much gives this one shop a monopoly over Orange County. Not only that, but the surrounding counties, because they all have a similar ban.
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. So right now, the pet stores in Orange County that are existing can still sell puppies and kittens and bunnies until June 22nd. There is a lawsuit challenging the county ordinance, which passed by 4-3 in June, but it was to a very narrow margin. But on June 22nd next year, unless something else happens, pet stores in Orange County cannot sell puppies, except Choose a Puppy can. And you're right. This actually gives them a monopoly, not just in Ocoee, not just in Orange County, but in the region. Retail pet shops can't sell them in Lake, Osceola, Seminole, Orange. So if you want to go to a pet store, that's the one you're going to have to go to.
How does the city get around the county ordinance? Like what decides that?
So the county charter says if a municipality has an ordinance that is similar or about the same subject as the county ordinance, the municipality's ordinance trumps the county ordinance. So the county charter allows for that. It'll be interesting to see how this goes forward. The animal welfare people say they're going to keep fighting. They were very disappointed about the outcome last night. The vote last night was 3-2. A lot of the people arguing against the ordinance said there's no consequences. There are some rules in place, but if this pet store continues to stock its cages and enclosures with puppies from these puppy mills, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing the city can do about it, except go back and rescind the ordinance.
Yeah, well, like you said, it sounds like a lot of arguments still coming on this one and not the end of this one, but stay tuned on OrlandoSentinel.com. Appreciate Steve unwinding that one for us, but we're going to move forward here to Mike Lafferty. So, Mike, as I alluded to at the beginning, it seems like the editorial board has pretty much thrown up their hands and saying, what is going on? And this has to do with a school in Miami that has pretty much told parents that if they have a student that is vaccinated, to keep them home for 30 days. This is a bit crazy, Mike.
It sort of reminded us of the Superman comic that focused on Bizarro World, which is this cube-shaped world where everything is opposite of what seems normal. And in Bizarro, Florida, there's a school in South Florida, a private school, that has decided that if parents get their kids vaccinated and they're a student there, those kids have to quarantine for 30 days. And this quarantine rule does not apply to students who are unvaccinated. It only applies to vaccinated students, which is pretty bizarre.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because it seems like the state is coming to the defense of unvaccinated individuals and not vaccinated people.
Well, under the Florida law that was passed in the spring, it focused on what they like to call vaccine passports, which is basically being required to prove that you have been vaccinated in order to receive some kind of service, either from private entity or from government. And the state of Florida made that illegal. It said that you are not allowed to condition a service of any kind on someone's proof of vaccination. So, a grocery store can't ask people at the door to show their vaccine card. And, neither can a government stop someone from coming in and getting a driver's license if they're not vaccinated. And it applies to schools too, by the way. But what happened was that, while the law says that you cannot discriminate against people who are unvaccinated, it said nothing about discriminating against people who are vaccinated, which is precisely what's happening at this school in South Florida called the Sentinel Academy. This wasn't too hard to figure out. There was while they were debating the law, a state senator in South Florida, Jason Pizzo, tried to introduce an amendment that just simply said that this also applies to people who are vaccinated. And the amendment failed on a 19-19 vote. So the state Senate of Florida very deliberately decided that you can discriminate against vaccinated people, you cannot discriminate against unvaccinated people. And that's what happens in Bizarro, Florida.
Yeah, I did get that. You get the sense of reading through this editorial. It even just says nothing in Florida makes sense any longer. And it does have this feeling like you could tell this frustration coming from you all. And it doesn't just seem like just this. I mean, it's just been vaccinations and even like medical advice. It just all seems completely counterproductive.
It's crazy and it's absurd. We have a governor who is going all over the state trying to persuade people to get these Regeneron antibody treatments after they're sick, which is fine. It's good. It's a medical marvel that these treatments are available to people and will, in many cases, keep them from getting, if they have COVID, keep them from getting sick enough to get to go into the hospital or die. It's great. But the same governor does not go around the state asking people to get what amounts to, instead of a $2,000 treatment like these antibodies, to get a $40 vaccine, and he hired a surgeon general who has expressed skepticism about vaccines. Nothing makes sense in this state anymore. Nothing.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and push pause for that one right now. You can go ahead and read more on that editorial right now on OrlandoSentinel.com. Want to point out, too, become a subscriber. We appreciate that. Go ahead and go to OrlandoSentinel.com/subscribe and support our work. But we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today. Until next time, I'm Rich, Steve, and Mike. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on OrlandoSentinel.com.